Well, welcome to our next edition of Tech Tips from Paradise Energy Solutions. I'm Rick Naranjo and I'm here with Larry Beiler, our estimating manager. And today we'd like to talk a little bit about how to understand your electric bill. So we've got a bill here, and Larry, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions if that works out for you.
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing, Larry, is how do I know if someone says, I've heard things like account numbers, whereabouts on this bill, would it be my account number right here on the bill? Okay, so oftentimes you want to know what's my account number. That's the utility's way of knowing who you are. I was kind of curious too, Larry. I see it says distribution charges and then total generation and transmission charges. But how does that add up to how my bill works, Larry?
Yeah, so we can easily see that here. Total distribution charges 1902, generation and transmission 465. And that's broken down in more detail on page 2 of the electric bill. And we can see for this customer, their distribution charge is primarily a customer charge. That's going to be a monthly charge, which solar cannot reduce. So we can see that that's every month they get charged that $17.47. Whereas the rest of these charges, this 66 kilowatt hours, 66 and 66 for transmission and generation, those are all per kilowatt hour, so solar can reduce all of those charges.
Okay, so some of the charges solar reduces, but now these aren't the only charges, are they, Larry? Are there other charges on my bill besides just distribution and transmission charges?
All the charges for this bill are shown right here. You have your generation charge here at the bottom. That's actually making the energy.
Okay.
Your transmission, that's the long distance lines to get it from the plant to close to your house. And then the distribution is the shorter distance lines at a lower voltage to get the kilowatt hours to your house.
Okay. And now, how do I know what rate class I'm in? I've heard that there's like RS and GS, and every utility has their own lingo. Whereabouts on the bill would it show me? I see it says residential rate RS. Is that like my rate?
Yes.
And how do the different rates work in a utility, Larry?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as you can see here, residential rate RS, that means it's a residential service in PPL utility. And basically what that means is that you don't have a peak demand charge. So all of your charges, almost all of your charges are per kilowatt hour. Like we mentioned, 66 kilowatt hours is the charge for this bill. Only that customer charge is a monthly charge, which cannot be reduced by solar. Okay,
I understand. Okay, well, thank you, Larry. And Larry, so I've heard this word kilowatt hour. So what exactly is a kilowatt hour?
1 kilowatt hour is using 1 kilowatt of instantaneous power for 1 hour.
Okay.
So the kilowatt is the speed, and the kilowatt hour is the total volume.
Okay, so I don't know exactly what a kilowatt means, so what is kilo? I know what a watt is, I think, but what does kilo mean in PP&L terms?
Kilo is simply 1,000.
1,000 watts.
Yep.
Okay. So if I had a 100-watt light bulb, for example, 100, and I had 10 of them, that'd be 1,000 watts. Mm-hmm. Would that be equal to a kilowatt hour?
That would be equal to a kilowatt.
A kilowatt, okay.
If you use all those 10 light bulbs for an hour, that would be 1 kilowatt hour.
Kilowatt hour, okay. So a kilowatt hour is 10 100-watt light bulbs for an hour.
Exactly.
And that would be a kilowatt hour. And if I look here, it looks like I would pay something like, for transmission, for example, if I had that many, 66 of those kilowatt hours, at 4.295 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, so I think I can understand that. Well, Larry, thanks very much for helping us with this week's tech tips, and appreciate your watching, and let us know if there's any other topics that you might want to hear from us about. So thanks again from Paradise Energy Solutions.